All right, today our instructor is going to be Michael Huggins. Here is a guy that has taken the education from Renatus and revolutionized his life. He completely upended it. He changed his lifestyle. He changed himself, and he works daily on self-improvement. The guy's got a dedication to self-improvement that's just phenomenal, and he encourages that of everyone that's around him. We need to become better every single day. I can't tell you the things that he's done for me personally and changed my life. We're excited to have you with us this morning, Michael. How are you?
Good morning,
Good morning,
Ron. Good
Ron.
morning, everyone. I'm doing great. Thanks for being here. All right, Wealth Wednesday. Let's jump into this. So I was talking to an IMA last night about how he's talking to his warm market and not getting the results he wants. He keeps people keep dropping off out of his system before they get the information, and so they don't ever make an intelligent decision, and they end up saying no. And he's just confused. Why is it not working? What am I not doing? And I asked him, he was telling me about a prospect. He says, look, I got this guy, right? And he'd be the perfect candidate. He'd be perfect. But he stopped answering my phone. And I was like, okay, what do you mean by he's perfect? He's like, well, he has a house with a mortgage on it. Okay, he's got kids. Right, he's got two that are under 18. Okay. He's got a wife that wants to be stay at home. He's an entrepreneur. Okay, he's got his own business. I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a great candidate. Why did he not buy? What was his reason for not buying? And he didn't really have a reason. He just says I can't get him to actually watch, or I can't get him to an event. I can't get him to watch a webinar. Like, all right, well, this is your friend, right? Yeah. So what I helped him realize, and I guess I kind of do this unconsciously, so now I want to bring this to your guys' attention. We talked about it a little bit yesterday on the impact, if you were able to watch that. And part of what we talked about was a checklist. A checklist. Are you running people down a checklist to make sure that they get all this information, and then at the end of this information, then we can either say, yes, you get it, you can come, you can hang out, you can be on the team, or no, you don't get it. So with this checklist, what I'm imagining is we want to get our customer to experience 8 hours. Okay, the more I review my sales and the more I review the process for each person, it's taken about 8 hours or so to get someone through the information. And then when it's time for them to decide, right? It's like, all right, so we've hit up this 8 hours. It's now time to decide. Are you in or are you out? If they don't say yes, right? Anything but a yes. If they're like maybe or no, or I need more time, right? I need more time. Okay. But we've already covered 8 hours of stuff. Then they just don't know how to make a decision. We're going to get a lot of yeses. But on the no side, if they're like, well, I don't think it is worth it, or I don't know. Because when we're looking for this decision, they say yes. They say, great, go get your money. Go get the money. Okay, so I think about myself first when I go through this. I'm like, all right, so yeah, the lady who recruited me, she made sure that I got this information and this information and this, and she just moved me down this checklist. And then she asked me for my decision, and I said, yes, I'm in. And she said, great, go get the money. Now, if someone says, after you've told them, okay, great, go get the money, and they still say, but I don't have it, but I don't have it, then we review the checklist. You say, yeah, but we talked about raising capital. We talked about UGA. We talked about fixing your credit. We talked about all this stuff. So if you say, but, then you're either I'm gonna move you to the no category because you're either too dumb, you're too whatever. You're too wrapped up in something else. You're too bad at listening. You're too controlled by fear or something. Okay. So I'm going to erase this a little bit and draw this in a better fashion. But what we keep doing is we keep giving our guests limited information, asking for an order, and then they say no, and then we say, well, I guess that's that. And these, I want to bring a little bit of a different approach to that. So let's go through this again. So we've gone through the 8 hours. Actually, let's go over that real quick, and then we'll go over the steps thing. Okay, so in our checklist and making sure that people are getting the information, because that's all it is. If you think back to why you joined, someone said something, you saw a class, you saw a concept, you saw something that said, you know what? I'm in. It's worth it. It's worth finding the 20 grand. It's worth the interest I have to pay on it. It's worth the time. We've figured out we got this. It's worth it feeling. Right? It's worth it. I tell you guys, it's worth it. How do we get to this worth it? It's worth it feeling. Okay. So one of the things was obviously taxes. So we'll do this in green here. Okay, so did you give that person a clear understanding of taxes and what it's like to be a W-2 versus the business owner? Okay, taxes. Then let's talk about retirement accounts. Did we talk about retirement accounts? Okay, great. Good morning, Roxy. Welcome to the training. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If you're a little late, it's all good. Catch the recording, but stay focused. We got some good stuff here. Okay, so we talked about retirement account. What else? Well, we definitely got to talk about velocity banking. Okay, then we talk about rental properties. Okay, because again, when people say, when they say no, I can't, when they say that crap, it's because they don't understand the concepts available to them. And so we want to recreate. We want this no, I can't. We want, what are we trying to create? We're trying to create this expression, oh, it's totally worth it. It's worth it. Okay, so we go over rental properties. What else? We go over funding, right? So either UGA or get funded online or 401ks, life insurance, a few of those. Okay, what else in our checklist? We make sure people understand. Well, we make sure they understand the comp plan. Okay, what else? What else are you talking to your people about? Okay, so we're talking to them about taxes. Hey, you need to save money. Retirement. Hey, you need to protect your money. Velocity banking. Hey, we need to get out of debt. Rentals. Hey, we need to create some cash flow. Funding. Hey, you need access to a tool. Comp plan. Hey, this is how you're going to get paid. What else? For some people, they're going to need to go to a real deal tour. For some people, that's really just going to close your deal right there. They see a house. They see it. You're done. Okay. What else? We're missing one big one. Are there any comments? Are you guys commenting? Okay. The education. Well, yeah, I mean, so this is all of it. This is where we give them a tour. You know, when you go to Olive Garden, they give you that tour of Italy, and you get a little bit of everything. We're giving them a tour here. Okay. The events. Yeah, so the epics, the cash flow, this is where that stuff is happening, right? This is where we're showing them retirement account stuff. This is where we're showing them velocity banking. Is at the epics and the cash flow. So we're kind of onto it. Okay. Get their life back. Ruben, marketing. Well, that's the comp plan. So yeah, we definitely are going to make sure they understand our compensation plan. So we've already got that on the checklist. Let's think about it. When we're talking to people, flip the roles, and someone's talking to you. What else do you want to know? Okay, this is what I was thinking. You know what one brings in a lot of people is asset protection and privacy, right? LLCs and all that, and trust and life insurance and S corps, privacy and asset protection. Because some people say, well, yeah, I don't want to make a bunch of money and then have it stolen and have it lose a lawsuit. Yeah, I don't want that shit either. That's why we cover that in the essentials, our asset protection and our privacy. Okay, so and this is especially important with our warm market because they don't necessarily give us the benefit of the doubt, right? They say, hey, I remember when you picked your boogers as a kid, so I don't think I could listen to you about taxes. I don't think I could listen to you about this. I remember when you used to crap your pants, right? This is what I'm dealing with because I'm the young one. But when I go back and I say, look, well, I get that, but let's talk about this. Now let's talk about this. Now let's talk about that. By the end of it, people are chomping at the bit saying, really, this is what you're up to? But if I just only talk about one thing, I'm just like, yeah, velocity banking. They're going to go, nah, not worth it. It's all of it. It's the whole thing. It's the whole package, the whole enchilada. This whole thing. So with your one market especially, say before you jump to conclusions, let me just give you some more, you know, it's like brain food. It's idea food. And so now if we've gone through this 8 hours, you know what's on the other side of this 8 hours is a $10,000 check. And when I say 8 hours, it's like if you were to sit with them the whole time and you explain part of your taxes and retirement, and then you started putting on some classes, and then you put on the funding webinar, or you just showed them and you did the comp plan, and you go through this, and if you did every part of it, yeah, it'd take between 8 and 10 hours to get through this content, and it would create a $10,000 check. So do you know how many months many hours most people work in a month? They work 160 hours at their craptacular job in a month, hours in a month. And so if you just work an extra 8 hours, okay, you're already working 160 at your job, and some people will go, well, Michael, I can't, I got this job. Okay, well, let's throw another 8 hours on top of it this month, and you just make sure that you push someone all the way through this checklist, and you're making sure they're getting it. Okay, it's not talk to 8 people for 1 hour. No. It's you got to talk to one person for 8 hours. So if you worked this plan and you worked 80 hours, you'd make $100,000. You'd get 10 sales, 80 hours. Okay, but it's sticking with them until they get all of the content. Okay, so now that we've got the 8 hours, and of course you're going to have to use different language patterns and different excitements and different urgency tactics to get people to watch this. Especially, you know, if you got an intensive or something coming up in your area, oh man, that's going to cover a lot of your hours right there. You notice that? You get someone in at an intensive, and we cover the funding, the comp plan, asset protection. Like we cover a lot of it at an intensive. But if not, if you don't have intensives or your schedule doesn't line up or your cousin's schedule doesn't line up, then just take it to them. Take your classes over there. Don't give them your login, but take your classes over there and say, this is what we're dealing with. Blow your mind how easy this stuff can be. Okay. All right. So this is the checklist or this flow chart that's in my head. So we're going to work it out together here. Okay. So appreciate you guys all being on here this morning. Okay. So after 8 hours, it is time to collect a decision. All right. Cousin, uncle, grandma, neighbor, brother, sister, mom. It's time for you to decide. Are you in or out? Yes or no? This is easy. Some of you guys are afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. Be more afraid of not asking and going home regretting and being confused and leaving your friends confused. That's what you should be afraid of, not asking. Okay. So you get a yes, easy, have your OEP, order entry party, put it in. If they say no, I don't want to do it, well, then we got to break it down a little bit more. Are they saying no because lack of ideas? Are they saying no because of a lack of funds? Are they saying no because, well, honestly, this is where we stop and I start to process and I go, why is this person saying no? Now, if you didn't do your 8 hours, that's easy. They just say no because they don't know what it is. But now after you've covered all of this, we've looked at this checklist and we said, all right, so you understand the business owner versus the W-2 has all the advantages. And are you interested in these advantages? I'd like you to decide, yes or no, do you want these advantages? And they say, yes, great. They say no. You just got to be like, what? What are you talking about? No? What did we miss? What? Or if they say yes, then we say, great. That's awesome. We're going to have an order entry party. Go get your money. Go get your money. And then they go, no, I'm not ready. It's time to go get money. They say no. Or they say, no, I don't want to go get it, or no, I don't have it. They say, no, I don't want to go get it. And then you just refer back to the checklist. Dude, it is worth it. It is worth it. It's worth it. And if you stay on this path you're on, you're going to waste 20 grand in taxes and interest and missed opportunity cost and just the risk you're taking by not having anything protected. So if you're saying no, then let's review this stuff. But if they're saying no and it's you haven't gone through your 8 hours, then you still got to hit your checklist. But if they're saying no after you've hit this checklist, then you got to be a little surprised and a little concerned. Just be like, really? So we covered this and you still are saying no. Okay. Oh, do you know one other thing we should add to the checklist? It's just part of an experience is a story. Someone's story, someone's testimonial. Someone's testimonial. Did you also give them a testimonial of someone? Okay, I want that to be on the checklist also. Okay. So they say, no, I'm not gonna go get that. I don't think that's no. When they're right here, no. You just gotta be like shaking my head, like, what? What do you mean no? So they say no, then they fall into one of two categories. Like at this point, if they're like, no, I'm not gonna go get the money, and no, it's not worth it. And I know we've covered this checklist. So they say no, then they go into one of two categories. You are either too dumb or you didn't pay attention. And I'm going to give you one more chance. Okay. But if it's too dumb, obviously that's an overgeneralization. They're not too dumb. They just are not in the right mindset to take on anything in this checklist. Like if this checklist doesn't matter to them, then you are talking to the wrong customer. You're talking to the wrong people, right? Let's say you got a friend or a neighbor or something, you know they could benefit greatly from this. And you start taking them down this checklist, right? You're taking them down the checklist and we're covering stuff and we're covering stuff. And it is just like pulling teeth and like chasing them down and begging them to take on this information, and you're 2 or 3 hours into this stuff. And if they're not actively receiving this information, don't force it on people. You got the wrong customer. So you start back over. So you don't get paid for 8 hours total. You get paid for helping one person go through this 8 hours. And this is just a way of looking at it, right? I'm not saying Bob Snyder paying you hourly, right? But I'm trying to create some clarity around, all right, if you feel like you're putting in a lot of time, you might only be putting in 1 or 2 hours with 10 people. So you're still working 20 hours. But if you're only putting in the first 2 hours with 10 people, they don't have enough information to decide. So make sure, okay, so if this person's saying no, and I can see this huge benefit, but they're still saying no, then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure they understand the benefits of rentals. I'm going to make sure they understand asset protection. And you just get them excited about a topic and then give them the topic. Because at the end of it, if they really pay attention, everyone is going to come to this conclusion. It is worth it. You just got to get them the information. So if you're down here and they said no, and you say, okay, you probably either didn't pay attention or you're too dumb. If they're too dumb, they would have dropped off earlier. So it's not really that, but you could say that if they're your warm market and they're your friends. If they're cold market, probably don't do that. But I guess it depends. If you got someone with an attitude, but for the most part, we want to eliminate people's fear. We want to create clarity. We want to give them something that they know they can work towards. So they go too dumb, then I go down to I'll only invite you to a couple things a year, right? Our next intensive, you'll be on the list. But if they didn't pay attention, then I'm trying to think, okay, what kind of gaps do I need to fill in? Do I need to take them to lunch? Do they need to come to another epic? Do I need to talk more about the webinars and the coaching, show them the workbooks and the calculators? What more do they need? They're going to be right there. Think about it this way. If we're trying to dial a phone number, okay, we got our 10 digits. And our friends, our customers, our prospects, our leads, our candidates, they're going through life and they're picking up numbers, right? They're picking up numbers. And life experiences are adding numbers and they're trying to connect. And this number is going to connect them to their wealth, right? When they dial it in, it'll be the right number. They'll get connected to their wealth. And some of us came into Renatus and we barely had one number. I barely got my first number to my area code trying to figure out my wealth thing. There's some of us. And we got to put in years and years and years to get the right numbers and the right connection so we can get connected to our wealth. But then we also have customers who have been working on themselves. They've been developing in different areas. But again, if you're trying to call me and you're only punching in 6 digits, are we ever going to have a call? Are we ever going to get connected? Are we ever going to talk about anything? We're not. So there are some people who you'll come across in life that have 9 out of 10 numbers. And they're still trying to get clear. They're still trying to connect. They're still trying to dial up their wealth. And you say, you know what? You are missing this last digit right here, right? You're missing this last one. I am confident that if you enroll in Renatus You start taking this training, these ideas are going to fill in the last digit for you. So when you dial, you connect. Okay? It doesn't matter if you're a hard worker and you're sincere and you put in the time. If you're only dialing 9 digits, you're not getting a phone call. So for you, Renatus could be that last one. And it's only 20 grand for all of your wealth, all the stuff that's coming, all the endless opportunities to dial in your last digit for 20 grand. Let's go. You need these ideas, right? These are 9-figure mentors. These are the world's highest income earners. The world's, not just America, the world's. 9 figures, it's worth it. 20 grand, come on, it's worth it. That's 5 figures. So this is what I'm thinking about. So when I'm looking at my, organizing my leads, I'm looking at what I've taken them through. Okay, this person's been to a house tour. This person, oh crap, we haven't talked about the funding. That's why their order's not in yet, right? I'm constantly asking myself, how do I get their order in? 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 Right? Because you can't force it. You can't trick them. There's no shortcuts. So I just start asking myself, I'm going through my texts. Who did I text this week? Looking at my calls, who did I miss? Who did I connect with? Who left a voicemail? How do I get their order in? Okay, here's Bill. How do I get his order in? Oh, we haven't talked about retirement yet. Let's get that off the checklist. How do I get this person's order in? Oh, we definitely haven't talked about the comp plan. All right, I know what I'm talking to with him. And I just keep making sure I'm checking these people off. And then, you know what you could do at the end? Let's say you've gone through this list with someone, warm market, friends, that kind of stuff. Say you've gone through this checklist and you get to the end and you're like, all right, well, it's time to enroll, right? And they're like, 20 grand, I don't know if it's worth it. Or I don't know, what, 20 grand? You say, look, dude, and you pull out a list and you say, look at all this stuff we covered. Do you remember talking about taxes? Do you remember talking about this? Do you remember talking about that? Okay, so these are all the things we're fixing for you. This is why you're going to get the money. And you lay out a list. You say, look at all the shit we cover. Now you have some measurable progress, some measurable content. And they go, holy crap, we did cover this. They're either going to say, wow, you're dedicated to helping me. Thank you so much. Or if they're still intimidated by it, you are talking to the wrong person and just stop. Right? If they have no desire to be a business owner, then even if they spend 20 grand, they're not going to have a good time. But I swear, if you pull up that checklist and you have this visual tool, you say, look at everything we talked about. You were saying no to all of this. And they go, oh, well, maybe I'll just start with the essentials. Perfect. What's your credit card number? Let's go. And then they're in. 6 to 12 months later, they start learning way more. They start fixing this stuff, and they buy their combo. Okay. So that's what's on my mind, is what we were talking about last night. This IMA, and I said, man, if you really just go show your friend the checklist of stuff you have covered with him, I bet that checklist is enough for him to buy. You just taken 5 months to cover this checklist, which you could have done over the course of a week or two. Obviously, you're new, doesn't matter. We're working through that. But what I'm saying is, regardless of the amount of time it took for you to check everything off this list, you still covered it. So go show them what you covered and ask for the order. Let's get you connected to your wealth. Either way, you're either 10 digits away or 1 digit away. Renatus is going to give you those digits. You'll be able to dial up, get a clear connection, coming through loud and clear. Okay. Let's save this last part for questions, comments, ideas, clarification. Feel free to come off mute. And remember also, if you've dialed in on the phone, you can install the Zoom app and you could be watching while listening. And I also want to throw this out there. Sometimes people go, yeah, but I don't have unlimited data. That's what poor people say. Go spend the extra $30 and get unlimited data so you can see what we're talking about. And of course, if you're going to go start covering 8 hours of stuff with people, you're going to need that unlimited data so that you can show them. You can log in and say, here, put some headphones on. Watch this. Quit talking. Shut up. Here's some headphones. Watch this. You're going to need your data. Okay? You sell one essentials. You now have an extra data plan for 3 years. So just upgrade now. Okay? Upgrade now. Cool. Tyler, good. Glad that was helpful. Jessica, good morning. I recently added to my checklist a community support they will receive, and they won't have to go through process alone. Perfect. Community support. That's part of it. So when they say no, you can say, you realize you're saying no to 10,000 helpful entrepreneurs? You realize you're saying no to that? Yeah, let's get that on the list. Community support. Community. I'm going to move this checklist up. Moving it up, moving it up. Checklist. Okay. What else, guys? Checklist. All right, some of you guys are putting in hours, crazy amounts of hours, but you're just not doing it in a systematic way where you're saying, yes, this person experienced this. Yes, this person experienced that. Get them through the checklist. Thank you for that addition, Jessica. Liz, what is Liz saying? When people say, I'm interested in what you're doing, do you have the best success sending the webinars first or sitting down with them and working through the checklist? No, events, like you said, are a great way to hit checklist items too. Liz, I sit down with them, absolutely. Because if they, if your first impression of them is a subpar produced webinar, right? There's no production to it. It's just there, which a lot of our webinars are. There's not some Hollywood type production. They're just webinars. Some people, they go, oh great, this is what it is, and they start to assume that everything's going to be a webinar. Everything's going to be a webinar, and so that could be an uphill battle for some of your customers. So if they're in your town and they're your warm market, then for sure, go to their house, bring them to your house, take them to lunch, go to the office, and show them. It is going to be way better. Then you can see their facial expressions as they're consuming the content. They can pick up more on your energy and your enthusiasm about this, and they can see you're not just passively interested in it. You are committed to it. That energy and that feeling is going to definitely close more business, help more people feel confident moving forward with you. And then you use the webinar sparingly to fill in the gaps. Maybe people's schedules are so crazy about it that you just have to use webinars. That's different. But you say, but it's positioned in, hey, I want to sit down with you. I want to cover this, but because my schedule and your schedule, what we're going to have to end up doing is a webinar. And then that way they know a webinar is a substitute and not the main thing. Okie dokie. Okay, Ruben is also pointing out, hey, remember the Audible accounts. This is also something we can say, hey, these personal development things will be for you if you come on board. Getting it, Liz. Love it. Awesome. All right, Joe, what do you do if you are new at this and are learning all this info? How do we go about going through that checklist if we don't know the information ourselves? Perfect. I'm so glad you asked that, Joe. So the easiest way, if every one of your team members all of a sudden couldn't talk to you and you had to do this by yourself, how would you do it? Right, Joe? Like, yeah, you don't know how to explain a tax strategy, and that's fine. You're brand new to it. Then what I would imagine is you spend the time with them on videos. Okay, so if we go back and look at this checklist, the taxes would be a video, retirement would be a video, velocity banking would be a video, rentals would be a video, asset protection would be a video. So you're spending, 20 to 60 minutes of your education on these topics for people. The comp plan is also a video. Actually, yeah, it's in your business center. I also made a video on the comp plan. There's a video on funding. And then taking people through a real deal. There's no way to screw that up. I guess you could screw it up if you locked yourself out. You're like, well, guys, here's the house, but we can't get in. Yeah, other than that, you just walk through the house and show them what's up. And there's your real deal right there. So it's going to be videos. It's going to be using the video assets that corporate's created, Scott's created, I've created. The community videos could be, this first checklist item, you could show, you could display that through the founders webinars. You could do it through, showing someone an impact training that's been qualified. You can show them the success webinars and the marketing webinars. And of course, one of the biggest things that I used to do when I was building up the Denver team is I would bring, as part of my checklist in the follow-up, is I would log into Facebook and I'd log in and I'd show them pictures of regionals. Be like, look, this is what just happened in Utah. And I would just scroll, there's hundreds of pictures, and I just scroll and be like, look, these are all the people changing their lives, right? It's not just me and you at this coffee table, right? There's a force behind us. So I would use Facebook in an organized way to also show the community. But then the rest are classes, logging in and letting them take a sample. If we're selling 400 hours of education and we're giving them 5-6 hours or so of education, at that point, that's what I'm saying. If you've watched this and you still say no, you are too dumb. You are too dumb. Get out of my face. So you're going to use the classes. If you don't have the classes, Joe, it's time to buy the classes. Okay, buying the classes will make you more money. Word. Okay. Mario Lemus, do you bring up the comp plan if they don't ask about it? Only if, Mario, if they haven't bought yet. If they're still saying no, that's one of my checklist items. Right? They'd be like, okay, well, if you're still saying no, and we've covered velocity banking and asset protection, we've covered all this, you're still saying no. Did you know that there's also a way for you to make your money back without having to do any of this stuff we talked about? There's a business inside Renatus. And I bring it up that way and show them the comp plan. If they haven't bought yet, then Mario, definitely bring it up. You don't want to let them go home and be like, well, I couldn't close them. No, it's not that you couldn't close them. It's that they didn't have all the information. All of it. Okay. And next time you get into a group, next time you go to your office, start asking teammates. Say, hey, how much of your buying decision to get the combo was based off the comp plan? And if a lot of people say, oh man, that's what did it for me. I was already going to buy, but I got the combo because of the comp plan. Then you could bring that up with your customers and say, look, all these successful people, they have their combo and they got it because they saw the power of the comp plan. So definitely bring it up. I'm going to put the link to the new comp plan video in here. 1 second. Uno segundo. Okay. There it is, comp plan training. Copy and paste. Now this is at our training website, right? It's our IMA training website. You go to mytrainingtools.com. Just go and check it out. It's for IMAs only, but this comp plan training, you go through it. Watch the video. I think it was like 30, 40 minutes or so. If you think that's something that you want to send to your customer as is, totally fine. If you just want to study it because you didn't like how I phrased something or you didn't like how something was positioned or it's a different order, then just study it, study the content, and then deliver it yourself. That's totally fine too. I have no pride wrapped up in this. It's just here. We're here to help. Okay. How do I get the recording? I missed the first part. The recordings, I will also put that link in the chat box. And I want you to be sharing these links. These 2 links I'm putting in here are for all of you to give to your IMAs. If your IMAs have not gotten access to this, you're slacking. Copy and paste. Boom. So there's the Google spreadsheet. Grab this out of the text here, save it to your note app. So it's always on your phone. And then when people are like, hey, I want to plug in, I want to get caught up. Is there anything I can watch? I want to get caught up. So yeah, here you go. There it is. Okay, what else do we got here? Michael, how? Oh, wait. Okay, Liz, helpful, good. First part. Okay, Roxy, I got a couple that wants to do it but are super scared of getting into more debt. So Roxy, when I'm talking to people who have that mindset, then I just revisit this checklist. And I say, hey, if you are still scared of debt, I get that, but that is why we have this velocity banking class. Okay? If you're still afraid of debt, it's probably because you don't have a handle on your taxes too. Right? If you're still afraid of debt, well, let me show you how fast you're going to get out of debt with the comp plan. So let's review some of these things and let's revisit this checklist. That's totally fine. And then also helping them see with debt, Roxy, think about it this way. With debt is like fire, okay? Debt is like fire. Fire in control, if we have control of fire, we get a luxurious life. Think about it. Because we're in control of fire, we got light bulbs, we got ovens, we got cars, we got furnaces and water heaters. We got luxury because we control the fire. But fire out of control is going to do damage. It's going to hurt people. It's going to destroy property. It could kill people. Fire out of control, no luxurious life, no life. But we don't avoid fire because it could be dangerous, just like we don't avoid debt because it could be dangerous. We just make sure that we have debt in control, which will lead to a luxurious life. Driving the cars we want, wearing the clothes we want, having the address we want, taking the vacations we want, having the business expansion we want is because debt is in control. It will give us that luxurious life. But again, debt out of control, then yeah, you end up borrowing from Peter to pay Paul, and you end up falling behind on your payments and going into bankruptcy and all that. Yeah, I get that. But debt in and of itself is not bad, just like fire in and of itself is not bad. It's only whether you control it or not that makes it improve your life or hurt your life. And that's why we have this education. Perfect. Yeah, guys, if you keep playing this, you're going to see that people have the same fears over and over, and that's why Bob Snyder's a genius and made the product the way it is to answer those people's fears. Okay, good question, Roxy. Jessica, I use my mentors and shadowed them through first exposures to get comfortable talking to prospects. That's right. We're all about duplication. All about duplication. So if your peeps, if your 5 stars are doing follow-ups and taking people to house tours, tag along. Say, hey, I want to come to everything. If you're going to do conference calls, I want to listen in. I want to be involved. And that's why Jessica's getting the results. And the confidence is because she is being more and more involved with her 5-star people. Okay, Joe, awesome. Landon, what's up? Tyler, how did you know I needed to talk to a prospect after work today about this? That's what I'm saying, man. It is the same thing over and over. It's not that I'm so creative and I'm constantly figuring out a new puzzle. It's the same puzzle. This Renatus puzzle, it's the same thing over and over. So Tyler, Roxy, Jessica, you guys and gals, the more you stick with it, the easier it gets. It is seriously the same thing over and over and over. Since I started. I started as a confused kid working at Jiffy Lube. It's the same thing over and over. I'm just now better at it. I can do it with more grace and more tact and more style, but it's the same thing. All right, so grab those links from the chat box. Hurry, hurry, grab those links from the chat box. Add them to your notes. And as you bring new people on board, do not handicap them by limiting the information. Overwhelm them. Put more information out there. And then that way they can say, well, yes, I got that too. I'm getting caught up. But if they're like, well, I've never heard of that. How do I learn that? Never heard of that. How do I learn that? That's a bad sign. And you need to help them. Okay. Cool. All right. So this will be added to the spreadsheet of recordings here in the next few hours. So you should be able to review it by lunchtime. Cool. Any other questions before we're out of here? So Wealth Wednesday, guys. Don't take that typical approach like some people and say, oh, it's hump day. I'm just getting over the hump. Bullshit. Life is too awesome. We don't look at life like that. Oh, look at that. Here's a little tip for you. This chat may be saved by clicking on the More button at the right. If you're on your desktop or laptop, I don't know about the mobile version, but there's definitely ways to save the text in these conversations too, which is also pretty powerful if you guys go learn how to host these Zoom webinars and your cousin lives across the country and you still want to show Mark Kohler, you use these webinars and let them go through. And then you cut it off. All right, that was enough class. Time to pay. Okay. But you got to give them that taste test. I promise. Stick to 8 hours with one person. You will get some sales. Even if it's $400, doesn't matter. It'll turn into a combo later. Get the person on your team. Help them open their mind. Okay, guys, we're at the top of the hour. Congrats on being here. Consistency is key. Keep building your team. And remember, you don't have to learn everything. You don't have to know it all. Just engage with your team. Make sure they're showing up to this stuff. Okay? This is one of the benefits. So that community checklist. Say, look, every morning when you need help in the morning, there's a 7-figure earner in the morning here ready to help you every morning. So I commend you guys for being here. I really look forward to this every week, getting to chat with you guys and add more value. So, yeah, you guys keep working. I'll keep working. Let's do this together. Have a wonderful day, everybody.